Hi, this is David Davis, and I'm here with Krishna, who's one of the creative forces behind Cloud Physics. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great, great. So we've been talking about Cloud Physics and some of the capabilities that it provides, and now I know we're going to talk about storage analytics, which is really a hot topic. I mean, VMworld is just crazy with storage, storage and virtualization. They're hot topics today, really.
Yes.
And for good reason, because I think as virtual environments have matured, the utilization that has increased, and the IOPS required, especially for things like VDI and the more tier 1 applications they put on, that's increased over time. And for many admins, it's created storage issues. So.
Yes, the biggest reason I think storage is a big pain point for customer, especially in the last 5 years or so, is that the storage industry has become more like a zoo now. Right? You get species of all kind. You get pure SSD storage, you get SSD caching tier, you get SSD host-based storage, you have vSAN, you have distributed storage systems. So there is a tremendous shift in the storage industry. And your storage needs are not shrinking any day. They're just growing. The pie is growing more and more. So what this means is in your organization, eventually you'll be accumulating a species of different storage arrays. Now the virtualization layer abstracts that, the complexity underneath it, the different storage arrays, but it also reduces the visibility now. Because now different storage arrays have different performance characteristics. They have different price points. And therefore, placement of your virtual machines is critical in terms of your return of your investment, in terms of utilizing the maximum performance capacity that the storage array is providing you. So all these challenges exist today. So we are working on a special focus on storage analytics. And we're going to launch a solution pretty soon, and which takes some of our key fundamental analytics piece that we've built for storage-related issues, and we're going to stitch them together into a cohesive solution for the end users. So two main problems we are solving here is performance capacity problems and space capacity problems. So a space capacity problem is a situation where you don't know how much capacity you need and when you're going to run out of capacity. And let's say you're running out of capacity, how do you reclaim space? Because we know there's a lot of wasted space out there, and especially if you have an SSD environment, you're going to waste a lot of money by wasting those space. So how do you reclaim those space? So we are providing solutions for it. So I've already shown you SnapshotsCon wildcard, which shows you the space usage by snapshots. We have a card called Thin Provisioning Advisor. What this guy does is provides a simulation angle to do a what-if analysis and says, if you have to convert your existing thick provision virtual disk into a thin provision virtual disk, how much space you're going to reclaim. So you can get a quick summary of potential space savings. And you'll be surprised even in a smaller environments, the space savings that you can achieve is in terms of terabytes. The other interesting analysis this card does is some customers actually allocate a big virtual disk to their VM, but the guest is going to partition and use a very small chunk of it. Because the application owner demands, I have a database applications, give me a 2 terabyte disk. You give him a 2 terabyte disk, the application owner has carved out a small partition of 250 gigabytes, and the remaining 1.75 terabytes is wasted. And we can detect that, and we can say that, hey, you have so much space which is not used, and we also give you recommendations how to reclaim that space. So this is a quick way to find out this analysis, and you can do it by data store by data store. So you can say, what's the space savings on this data store, and what's the space saving? You can do it by VM, or you can slice it by operating system type. So again, you can get answers for such questions in your fingertips. So this is one way of space saving. Deleting snapshots is one way of space savings. We're also coming up with a card which tells you which of your VMs in your environments are unused. And we can give you recommendations. These VMs you haven't touched in 90 days.
Yeah.
And you can actually just delete the VMs and free up the space. or you have templates that you never deployed, we can identify that and we can give you space saving recommendations.
I mean, terabytes of enterprise-grade storage is
It is
worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think with virtualization comes the VM sprawl, and with the VM sprawl comes the storage sprawl.
right.
And people think that if you power off a VM, you're saving resources, which is true from a CPU and memory point of view, but not from a storage point of view. And people don't realize how much space is wasted that way. So we also have a card where we do some predictive analytics. It's called Data Store Space. And what this card tells you is the time to fill up your data store. It estimates it based on past historical observation of the data store. So we have our own heuristics, which is not a simple graph, linear graph. It scales. Storage growth in a virtual environment is not as simple as that because it's highly volatile. Your space usage suddenly can spike up if you provision a VM. If you delete a VM, the space usage drops. If your storage vMotion happens, same thing goes ups and down. So you have to have better heuristics, which predicts with a reasonable, it's like weather report.
Right.
We can tell you that at 90% probability, you're going to fill up your data store tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this allows an admin to do proactive maintenance. And along with that, alerting, we're going to build an alerting mechanism. We will send email report to the customer, and the customer can then get a list of data stores which are affected, which VMs which are affected on the data store, and then what remedial actions they can take, like what snapshot on the data store they can delete, what VMs on the data store they can convert into thin provisioning, what are the unused VMs on the data store. So we give all those reports so that people can make the best use of their existing infrastructure.
That's smart. I mean, helping admins move from being reactive to proactive is going to make everyone happy. Really,
Yeah.
the customer, the enterprise, the company, and the admin. And then providing that remediation, I think,
Yeah.
is so important because so many tools tell you, okay, you have a problem,
Exactly.
but they don't tell you how to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So vCenter has alerts to, or vCOps has alerts, tells you that you're running out of space. But then admin has to go through a lot of manual steps after that. Figure, okay, what VMs are affected, and then how do I reclaim that space?
Right.
So all of that is now automated in your email infrastructure itself. So.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that's all about the space capacity issues. And then there's a performance capacity problem that people face. And as I mentioned before, because now you have arrays with different performance capabilities, your performance issues will vary from data store to data store. So we have this card called data store contention, where it looks at performance data over time period, and then finds out spots of contention area. And when you click on one contention period, like if somebody complained at 3 p.m. had a performance problem, you can go to the data store and you can choose a time period, and we list all the VMs which were contributing I/O at that particular time in the order of their contribution.
That's
so
nice.
you know your top 3 VMs. So let
Yeah.
me pick up a data store here.
So many times, I mean, you'll get a call from a user that says, hey, my application was slow, my virtual desktop was slow. And you say, oh, okay, well, it looks fine now. And they're like, well, yeah, it looks fine now. When did it happen? Oh, it happened a few hours ago,
Yes.
And then it's too late to do anything about it.
Yeah,
And
the
here-
history is lost. So
Right.
we maintain history, and we can literally go back in time till the time you had your observer up and running.
And because it's software as a service, I don't have to worry about
Maintaining
storing all
the
that
stored
historical
So
data.
we store the data in the back end, and we allow people to move in any time frame. So here, this data store was, you see a big spike here, and you know that vCenter server was doing a lot of I/O at that point in time. So it helps admins to do this troubleshooting. The time to resolution now is like literally in seconds. It's not even in minutes or in hours, which is the norm when people are troubleshooting performance issues. So now you can just come and look at the data store. There you know your culprit is. So.
Very nice, very nice. Well, these are some great capabilities around storage provided by Cloud Physics, which is really easy to get started with. I mean, just deploy a virtual appliance. There's a free community edition, and it's priced per host, not a large CapEx purchase. And
Yes.
It's a great way to get started and even create your own performance or storage analytics reports. That's possible in the card builder, which we're going to be
Yes.
talking about in just a few minutes.
Yes.
Well, thanks for your time, Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.